Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside Out. We are live, and this is our look and review of Raw and Smackdown WWE. We're going to give you an old school look, perspective, so to speak, on everything WWE Raw and Smackdown. And I think Smackdown September 28th, 2020. So I think that's where we're going to start, Jack. I think we should just jump right to it.
Let's go. First match, Jeff Hardy versus Shinsuke, however you say his name, Nakamura. I remember Nakamura.
Yeah, okay.
Rodney, what'd you think?
Match itself was pretty decent, but I have to give tonight the Corey Graves acting award to AJ Styles, who destroyed the entire thing. The man, talk about, I don't ever want anybody to talk about Bobby not being able to talk. I mean, AJ Styles is the poster child that cannot talk. Let me just say that. If anybody needed somebody to talk for him, he was just over the top, totally cartoonish. No need for him. He just destroyed. If they had a great match, he just destroyed it. And, of course, he was sitting there with his acting coach, Corey Graves, and just demolished the whole thing. But I did take the opportunity to watch this show's SmackDown two different ways. First time I watched it, just the matches alone. I did not put any interviews except for AJ Styles. You couldn't help it because he's all in it, and he was earning his award for great acting during that first match. But as far as the match goes, I thought it was a pretty decent match. Yeah, but Jeff Hardy coming out and they using the swanton at the end, I thought it was pretty decent.
Brent?
Yeah, I thought it was a good match. I had no problem with AJ Styles. I had no problem with it as well. But, I was fine with all of it. I give the 4-star match between Jeff Hardy and Suzugiki Wakadaki, however you say his name.
Be careful, you'll end up like Joe Owen.
Now, I will tell you this though. I think it's time for the Japanese guy. I think it's time for him to leave. I think he's been there 4 years, and I think it's time for him to move on and somebody else be put in that spot. Jack, what did you think about the match?
Well, I thought it was pretty good. My actual favorite part was where they kind of teased some friction between him and Cesaro, who I think Cesaro's great. And I thought they've long missed the boat with him, and maybe if they'll put him into some kind of singles and do something, because the fans really take to him. He's really good. Okay, next match: Matt Riddle versus Chad Gable. And Rodney?
I actually enjoyed this one. I didn't really care for Mr. Riddle's entrance, but I think they just go way too long. But as far as the match goes, I thought it was pretty decent. And with Corbin out there, again, no outside interference, which I like. I thought was pretty decent. But like I said, I thought Matt Riddle and Shorty G did decent in that match.
Grant?
Hey, bro. It was good, bro. Yeah, I like Matt Riddle. I think he's good. I think he's going to be a big star in a couple of years. I really do. And now King Corbin, I could do without him. I'm not a big fan of his.
Yeah, he comes across pretty flat. I like Matt Riddle. I really like Chad Gable. I hate that Shorty G thing. But Chad Gable is he was a big amateur guy, so he really can do a lot of mat wrestling. And I wish that they would have done something. I really saw a lot of Kurt Angle potential to him, but they've just never capitalized on it. Let me see what's next. I'm trying to read where I wrote down here. The Golden Role Models come to the ring. Like did they do a match or did they just do a setup?
They just did a setup.
Yeah, for the next pay-per-view.
They did their soap opera interview there for that you will see on any All My Children or Days of My Life of General Hospital. It sounded like the children had been writing the script again this week on that one.
Well, Brent, what do you think?
I don't know that I saw that. Did I forward that up and not watch it?
It was
a
filler. It was a filler. It really went, and it went nothing happened.
I slept, but I don't remember that.
Now I like Shayna Baszler. I like her because she's legitimate, and I think she does a pretty good job. I don't think they're utilizing her the right way, but sooner or later, real talent rises to the top. The next match was Drew Gulak versus Braun Strowman. Rodney?
There was no question who was going to win that one. There was no question whatsoever.
The build up to that was kind of crazy, though. I mean, he just so happened to be standing there, and what's the guy's name that
Pierce.
Adam Pierce.
Adam Pierce, yeah.
Adam Pierce is going. He's walking around trying to get that contract signed, which that was the dumbest thing, especially when they went over there to the Firefly Fine Fair. That's the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. Come on now, let's stop this. Let's stop this insanity. But anyway, he comes in as a mailman and he does the signing. So now he's trying to find. I guess he's trying to get Braun to sign something. And he says, after he hits him with a chair, he just so happens to be at catering and getting him something to eat. We know he don't eat anything.
And there is the lesson to be learned. Don't mess with a man and his food.
No.
Do not do it. When you make him drop that, he'll just beat you to snatch him up by the beard. It was
Well, I don't think he was upset because he hit him in the back with a chair. He had a donut that dropped.
He made him drop his food. You don't waste food like that.
Good match, though. I like the match, but the build up to it was kind of crazy.
Yeah, I like Gulak quite a bit. He was getting a little bit of steam going. Something like this ain't going to hurt you. So hopefully that doesn't derail him in any way.
Yeah, it's not like Shorty G. So that's all right.
Yeah. All right. Next match, Cesaro versus Callisto. Rodney?
After the second leg slap, I fast-forwarded through the match.
That match was horrible. He does not need to be working against those guys. He's too big for them. It does not look believable. I give that a negative 3-star. And
negative 3. Is that the lowest you can go?
No, you can go negative 10. We had that.
Like I said, after the first couple of leg slaps, and it's funny. Most everything's telegraphed. There's really no surprises of anything. Occasionally, the only kind of surprise I give you if somebody is returning, like Sammy Raimi come back. I guess that's his name. The guy that looks like Castro from Cuba.
Sami Zayn.
Now, I enjoy that guy. I enjoy Sami Zayn. I think he was good. The only thing I seen at when we went back to the Jeff Hardy thing is he went to do the how many people are going to use a kick in this show for their finish?
All of them.
I mean, it gets over with one guy. Why not me?
Well, let me ask you this question. I have to ask you this question. We got to go back to that Jeff Hardy because I forgot that happened. What was the purpose of kicking Jeff Hardy? Because he could have got it over without the kick.
Yeah, it was over just with him coming out and raising that belt up as it was.
Yeah, they went too far with that. They didn't have to go that far with it. But I enjoy Sami. I think he's good. I think he's the modern day Jimmy Hart or something.
I thought he was a close second for the Corey Graves acting award.
I like him. Jack, do you like him?
I do. I do like him. I like him. I have followed his career from Ring of Honor on up, and he's a hard worker. He really is. And I'll close on the Cesaro match. I agree with you. Cesaro to me is here, and that other guy was down here, and Cesaro was having to work to his level to keep it up. Now, I'm not saying the guy couldn't do his fancy high spots, but Cesaro is just a real legitimate guy, and he don't need to be working with guys like that.
No.
Now, one of my favorite parts was actually Vince telling Pearson if he can't get into Ramon Reigns' dressing room, to have the security guys to pick him up and use his head as a battering ram to go through the. I thought that was good.
Hello, my name is Vince McMahon.
Yes. Every
Dark
time I see
Vader.
Vince, I want to say, I want to offer him a lozenge. Can you hear a lozenge? Every time I would walk up to when he speaks, lozenge.
He's changed so much that his voice is gone, or he's just 75 years old.
Probably a little bit of both.
It sounds like he's been.
Honestly, the commentator Vince sounded different from Mr. McMahon. You know, he changed his voice up because he's in that character. So anyway, moving on. The Miz, John Morrison, and Sheamus versus Big E and Heavy Machinery. Rodney?
It was decent, but again, it was predictable, I think. I enjoyed the Caterpillar. I did enjoy that. All in all, I thought a decent match. In fact, the Ditz and Moron Son actually worked a tag match that I was surprised to see. They actually was pulling a man back in the corner and making a tag, which is unusual for the WWE. So, yeah. So
I didn't like it. I'm sorry. And I want to tell you the reason why. I don't like the guy. Who is Otis's partner?
Tucker.
That boy has no get up and go. He's got one gear, and it don't go out of that gear. Yeah. And he's sloppy in what he does. I did not like him. I like Otis. I like him. I like the guy. I think they need to get rid of him. Let Otis go by himself because he has no fire whatsoever. His fire's gone or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
He needs to be that guy needs to be a heel. Otis needs to be babyface.
Yeah, and maybe they'll lead to that eventually, but I can't add.
Well, it's like everybody else. They're going to turn on each other.
Agree. Oh yeah,
everybody turns on each other. It just takes a second. I'll just turn on you. Don't matter.
You know, Sheamus ditched them, so you know there's something.
Well, I love the interview they did prior to that, though. I thought that was good.
Yeah, they got so many little setups that they did tonight. Let's see if they go through with 10% of them.
True.
So, all right, then we had the episode of the story of Postman Pierce.
That's right.
So, and let me tell you, I've got Adam on my Facebook. A really great guy, heck of a wrestler back in his time. Could probably still out wrestle most of them on the card up there. But he posted on his Facebook the other day, somebody had been to his house and had dropped off the shirt and the hat on his front doorstep while he was gone. And this was after this deal. So that was,
that's the reason they had to makeshift it. I noticed they put stickers on the shirt. I noticed.
Yeah.
All right.
I did like the ending. They kept Ramon Reigns to the very end. I did like the ending, and I did like the little twist with Paul Heyman. But my question is this. All right, and I'm going to stir it up as I normally do. In Continental, you want a person to play cleanup. It was the Bullet. He come by, Bob Armstrong come, and he would clean house. It didn't make any difference who it was. Eventually, the Bullet was going to get you. In Georgia, you had Dusty Rhodes wrestling too, Thunderbolt Patterson, and the Carolinas, you had Ricky Steamboat. And in Florida, you had Dusty and Eddie Graham. Mid-South had Bill Watts and Junkyard Dog. My question is, who is the person? Who's the man? Who's the one that's going to? In Memphis, it was Jerry Lawler. Who's the man? They seem to not have one. This is, to me, a failure. It's a failure in booking that you do not have. They don't have Andre the Giant like we covered the other night.
Booking? I don't think they booked there.
I'm just saying it's just a failure to me. If you don't have the man that can come in, like you don't have Andre the Giant they can put him against. They have nobody that they can come in and clean up. They used to have Steve Austin. They used to have The Rock, almost John Cena. But who they have now?
Keith Lee, I think, is who they wanted it to be.
Keith Lee. Okay. All right, if that's the way it is.
No, not on SmackDown. I don't think he's on SmackDown. I forget these are.
They don't.
Yeah, he's on Raw.
They just don't have it. They just don't have it for me. And then all the tag teams seem to be comedy acts. There is no, and it's meant to be that way. I understand because we talked about before. Who is that Midnight Express? Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard. Who is it? They don't have it. The tag team is just a novelty for comic effect. And then the show coming up is just blatantly obvious that that's what it is.
Well, I give SmackDown a 4. I give SmackDown a 4, and I give it mainly for just a couple of those matches. But I give it. They'd get more if they just get Bray Wyatt and the Fiend off of television. That's just. I'm not a big fan of that, and I'm not. It's
well,
ridiculous.
that is where they're going. Is they're going to make him their top babyface. That's their intent. And
just don't think it's going to work.
They think he has that Undertaker quality. And I'll say this: before he was the Fiend, this latest incarnation, before they had the perfect opportunity to turn him, because people loved him, and he was getting over huge, and then they just stopped it for no reason whatsoever. So I don't know if the fans are going to forgive that, the history of the way they keep doing him. So I don't know. But anyway,
if they were going to make him the big star, they wouldn't have let Roman Reigns just come in and take the belt right off the bat from him.
Yeah,
they took him right
yeah well, and that's the way we close out the show is Pierce finally finds Roman Reigns, and the closing segment, they pull the camera back and there's Paul Heyman sitting with Roman Reigns.
I looked for Paul Heyman to bite him in the neck any moment.
that was kind of weird. I'd hate to have to sit there that long with Paul Heyman looking at me like that.
Yeah, I don't think Roman Reigns was biting him very well.
I would have looked at him and said, is there a problem here?
Now, on the other hand, I have heard that they're finally going to change Roman Reigns' gear up and possibly put him in boots and tights. Because the guy is unbelievably fit. I mean, he is in fantastic shape and got some of the greatest tattoos I've ever seen. And so maybe, turning him heel here, committing to it, to actually doing it, they'll make some serious changes and take him completely away from the character he was to the character he needs to be.
All right, time for Raw. August 31st, 2020. Yeah, I'm just going to say, go ahead, Jay.
Okay, let's see. I'm scrolling down through my notes here. First match, I don't remember if they did. I'm sure they did like a 4-hour opening interview.
Oh, they did. Randy Orton interview.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, number 1 contender qualifier, Keith Lee versus Dolph Ziggler.
Good match.
Rodney?
Good match. But why does the show have to open the same way every week? Seriously. Why did somebody have to excuse me, why do they have to hand him a microphone? Somebody have to go out there with a microphone every week. Same old format every week.
It's the formula.
Okay, it's the formula. Yeah, I mean,
what I want to tell y'all right now is tonight on Raw, I'm going to challenge Jack Lord to a match.
Somebody's going to walk down right in the middle of your while you're trying to make an announcement. Hold on. Their music's going to be blaring. You got to stop and look back and see who it is.
We're going to have cigars on the pole.
I'm winning.
Now, don't you understand? The cigars are going to be on the pole, but the matches to start, that's going to be another pole. So it's double. To try to get that in the first person, to get that cigar, we're going to win tonight on Raw.
Cigar on one pole and matches on the other.
That's right. Go ahead.
Oh, well, Dolph Ziggler and Keith Lee actually was decent. It was a decent match. I'm going to tell you right now, most hated for me, Tom Phillips. He was annoying as all get out. I got to tell you right now, I'm going to talk to my friends, the Black Scorpions. He's the first one we're taking out. Got to get. I want him finished. I will gladly watch weeks and weeks of this show if they will just run him through the table. That would be fantastic. He was just totally annoying this week.
Now, I like Keith Lee a lot.
Yes.
I've been telling you guys about him for, months about how good he was in NXT. Now, I'm not going to lie. Last week when he came out on Raw and had that skirt on, it terrified me. Absolutely scared me to death. Because I'm thinking here's one of the most legit looking guys they have had since a Dick the Bruiser. I mean, he just looks like he will fight you, and he's so talented in that ring. Well, obviously Vince listened to me because they took him out of the skirt and put him back into the wrestling gear, and he's got boots and knee pads, and I just think the guy's great. So.
And let's remember now, the winner of this was going to advance to the triple threat matches, which I hate, but going to advance to the triple threat matches, a match later for a WWE Championship opportunity. And they say that over and over. WWE Championship opportunity. Apparently, opportunity, the word of the night. Let's make sure to get an opportunity in as much as we can. That's Vince yelling in their ear. Say opportunity! Say opportunity!
Which, by the way, in case you didn't watch, Lee won that match. Really good. Ziggler, as always, is probably the best seller that they have in WWE. Every time I see him, I'm thinking he's giving Ricky Morton a run for his money. The guy is really, really good. Yep. Okay. Asuka's out for an interview. Mickie James, I believe, is one that comes out to challenge her, and we wind up getting a tag match out of this thing with Mickie defeating Lana. It was Lana and Natalya that came down.
Yeah. Love Lana. I believe Lana. I'm sorry. I know Jack likes Asuka. I don't like her.
I do like Asuka.
I think they should take the belt off of her, build Lana up, and put the belt on her. Because Lana actually goes out there when she does wrestle in that match. I mean, she was aggressive with them girls. I mean, she was putting it on them. And so I'm sorry. I'm not a big Asuka fan. I apologize to you, Asuka, but I don't think it's your wrestling ability. I think it's your gimmick. I just don't care for it.
You mean you didn't like her yelling into the while the commentary when the match was going? You don't like her yelling into it? I can tell you right now, I'd much rather hear her yell than Tom Phillips.
Okay, I gotta ask.
We're gonna get a WWE Championship opportunity.
I gotta ask this question.
We're gonna do the championship opportunity.
Why do they have the girl doing a kick to win the match?
Okay, that's everybody's finish. It's like the interview opening.
So if everybody was using a DDT, if it was getting over, say that Jake just came in, so everybody would use a DDT from this moment on. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yep, that's exactly what I'm saying.
I mean, you would think
what a great way of killing off a move, I'll tell you.
You think somebody would look at it and go, okay, listen, we've got the 5-6 different people doing the kicks. Okay, they got to have another move. We can't have everybody kicking somebody. And I could understand from one brand to the other. I might understand that, but they did this here, and I think later on that Aleister Black uses a kick as well. So I'm thinking it's all about kicking.
Yeah, but they call his Black Mass, I think, or something like that. So, and speaking of Aleister Black, our next match is the number 1 contender qualifier, number 2, Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. Now, I'm going to tell you, I kind of like the setup. Kevin Owens, I think he gets over really well. But you don't want to just kill him, but you need to put Randy Orton over. And I thought Aleister coming out and doing what he did, and then, it showed so much courage for Kevin still to get in there. He's hurt, but I'm gonna do the match, and then boom, 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 it was over real quick. But it was very well told, I thought.
Yep.
Rodney, what did you think?
I was all right with it. Interference though, number 1 though. I'll give him 1 interference per night. This one
was different. It happened before the match, not after.
I have to ask you, WWE people who are writing this, please figure out finishes. Roll up is great, but when you do it 4, 5, 6 times within a series of deals, you've learned that you run out of finishes. Now, if you want to, I grew up in the wrestling business. I'll write you down some finishes, so you'll have you some that you can.
Cornette's in his book.
That you can use.
Cornette's got a whole notebook of finishes.
Yeah, so you need different finishes. Not everything can be a roll up, even though that's fine and it helps, and it should be done in wrestling. That way, it gets a pop when a roll up gets done. But it don't need to be every. They just get stuck on roll ups and kicks, and they're just that's in the brain for them for some reason. All right, go ahead. We need to move on.
Okay, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and MVP versus Cedric Alexander and the Viking Raiders. They're really pushing that heat between what is that, the Hurt Club or Hurt whatever they are. Hurt Business, which I think is a pretty good idea. I like, they coordinate, they wear the shirts, they dress up. I mean, they act like they're somebody, and all three of them are fantastic. I can see eventually Cedric turning because they're pushing too hard for him not to turn. But I thought the match was pretty good. I can't even remember who. Alexander and the Raiders. Yeah, they won the match.
A lot of apparently some leg slaps in there. I wrote that down.
A couple.
Yeah, when they do leg slaps, make a that's a disqualification. At my point, I fast forward.
I didn't like it. Don't like the Viking Raiders. They have no get up and go. They think they're good. You can tell they think they're good, and they're really not. And I'm sorry, but the first thing I would do as booking the pencil is mightier than the sword. I would be writing them out. I'd be erasing.
Well, here's the thing with the Viking Raiders. When they were in NXT, they were really good, but they were a real heel or real babyface tag team. I mean, they were legitimate. They were just eating people up. And as soon as they came to Raw, they got turned into a comedy act. And that's ruined it.
And that's what I said about tag team.
Exactly.
They're all. I mean, you've got the Ditz and Moronson. They're a comedy routine. But there's no, and then this thing coming up. Are we going to it next? Are you going? Oh, excuse me, Brent. Go ahead.
All right, let's move on.
The Iconics and the Riot. Anybody could tell you who was going to lose that match. I don't know how long Tom Phillips could sit there and talked about these two girls for 10 years. They've been and just kept on and on and on. And then, surprise, they lost.
Oh, boy, that just hurts my
everything.
feelings.
They telegraph everything. Would you cry about that, Brent?
I have not liked the Iconics since I saw them. I don't like them. They don't have any talent. This match was horrible. I don't know who trains them. They hit the punches. That Ruby Riott, I'd fire her the first day I got there. I'd fire her and say, listen, you're gone. And then Natalie, I'd go to her and say, are you training the wrestlers?
Fired. He's firing everybody.
Are you training the wrestlers to do those punches? And if you are training the wrestlers to be that punches, or is WWE telling you to that's how you want to train them, to hit the mat instead of hitting the punches were horrible. That match, -22 in that match.
Let me jump ahead, and I'm going to tell you my favorite part of that match happened later at the what do they call it? The underground thing?
Underground, yes.
Yeah, the underground thing where Peyton Royce throws Billy Kay up to the two MMA girls, and she gets beat up pretty bad, and she's just like, "Ooh, well, that's too bad." No, I did like that part. That's the only thing I liked about anything that came out of that match. Okay, now we move on.
Do we even speak to it any longer, Rodney?
No, I think we should already say that.
All right, number 1 contender qualifier, number 3, if you're keeping count. Seth Rollins versus Dominic Mysterio. And I think they announced at the first that Ray is going to be out. He legitimately tore his tricep at the pay-per-view. That's about a 9-month to a year recovery. I hate that happened to him. But I'm glad he signed his contract about a week or so ago, so he's covered.
Good match. Good match. Great match. I got, I said the bad things about Dominic the other day, the last show, but I'm telling you, great match. And I give it to him. He did good.
Wish he would sell just a little bit more. I really did, because he can get sympathy. and I wish he could sell just a little bit more instead of, and maybe stop a little bit with more of the.
I love Seth Rollins. I think he is spectacular. I think he's one of the greatest workers out there at this point.
Yeah. I agree. Let's see. Next, we have the Tornado Tag match between the Street Profits and Andrade and Angel Garza. Rodney?
Thank goodness the Black Scorpions came in and ended this, put us all out of our misery on this. Thank you, Retribution. By the way, they only appear on Raw and SmackDown. Thus saith Tom Phillips.
Well, now I heard that from now on they may only be doing, I believe, Raw. So,
that's
an exciting thing to look forward to every week.
Skinnier guy, the Street Profits. What's his name?
I can't remember.
Whatever his name is,
Montez Ford.
I like him.
Or no, Angelo Dawkins. Angelo
Dawkins I like. I think he's really good. The other guy I don't like, but I think he's really good. I think put him by himself, I think he could get over. Like I said before, the tag team division is pretty much just all comedy. They had the Street Profits earlier in the show had their comedy routine, and then of course the 24/7 championship thing is also a comedy thing, which he beat the guy lost to R-Truth in the parking lot. I missed that too. I must have front.
Well, you missed absolutely nothing. You missed absolutely nothing. It's just dumb. I'm sorry. That's just dumb.
All right, moving on. We did the next. They did the Raw Underground. Benjamin versus Cruz, which Benjamin beat him. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, all six fought in the end. They had just had a big old fight.
And Maria Schaffer, and I don't know what this other one, Jasmine Duke.
Yeah, Jasmine Duke.
Yeah, they're the ones who get Billy Kay punked out. So, like I said, I enjoyed that part.
Yeah,
that was about it.
I almost went to sleep during that. So
okay, and now here is your number one contender match that you've been gearing up for all night with interviews and everything.
And the WWE Championship opportunity on the line. We've heard it over and over again.
Randy Orton versus Keith Lee versus Seth Rollins for a chance.
No. Opportunity. Vince is calling.
He is not in my ear.
Good match.
Yeah.
Good match.
I have a question.
Okay.
Did Seth Rollins do what I thought he did as he was coming into the ring in his entrance?
I must have missed that.
Did he stand in the middle of the ring, put his hands palms out, faced out like this, and look down at the mat?
Yes, he is the Monday Night Messiah.
I thought that's what he did.
And he gets a lot of heat from a lot of religious folks for that, and I get that. But I will point out that Vince is the one telling him to do it.
Of course. Well, Vince has always had a contempt for people of faith. Always.
Yep.
By the way, the ratings was down this week. It was down to 1.8, I believe. I think it was 1.8 million. They went down 200. I don't think it was down 200, 400,000 people. I think, which is not totally horrible, but I think it'll be back down even worse next week.
Well, yeah, you had 1.5 here. Just like 6-8 weeks ago.
And the bottom line is you buried the champion last week. I mean, just not just a little bit. You buried him good last week on TV. So.
All right. Are we ready to hear what the insiders have to say about it?
Let's go.
Let's go and hear what the insiders have to say about Raw and SmackDown as we give you our old school thoughts on wrestling. Theodore has come on here, and I pray you're doing well. We are doing well. Thank you so much. Black Hayes Fink, good evening. How you doing?
I love that name.
Mike Schaefer watching from Parts Unknown
Parts
tonight.
Unknown, yeah.
Bruce Smokey says hello. Evening, Jack Lord.
Hey, Bruce.
Bubba Griffin, Pensacola in the house. Richard Hood is checking in with us. Michael, glad to see you're wearing your merch. Well, yeah, I've got mine on, and Jack's got his, and we've got a new T-shirt, Pro Wrestling Inside Out T-shirt. We're going to be putting on the shop this weekend. It's a brand new Pro Wrestling Inside and Out done by Scott's Arts. And I will give you more information once we get it up there. Theodore, I think we already said hello to him, didn't we?
Hey.
I believe so.
Kevin Penley said Adam Pearce was the NWA champion.
He was.
I did not know that. I had no idea that he was that. Larry Brock, great show. Even though, Larry, we're talking about the modern day wrestling, but we're giving you the old school thought process. Doesn't always come over nicely sometimes, you know.
I was very nice about it.
Hey, the original Rodney West is in the house. I'm an old school wrestling, can't get into new wrestling. There are some things that are all right with new wrestling.
Hey, Rodney, number one, try doing it this way. I did it, and it makes a difference. It does make a difference. Honestly, the interviews are awful. They are just terrible. They are written by children. You can tell they're written by children. The people who write it have no wrestling background whatsoever. So just fast forward through that. Just watch the wrestling for itself. I can tell you enjoy it a whole lot better. You might want to turn the sound off to keep old Tom Idiot off there too.
I have to give you the Raw main event was good.
Yeah.
Good, solid wrestling, and it told a story. So I can't see anything bad. And Jack will know. Jack knows better than anybody. We've talked over and over again. And I've told him I'm not a big fan. And he said, well, that we've got to watch it. It's part of the pro wrestling business today. We've got to be a part of it. So we watch it. Now, Rodney, we almost had to tie him down to the actual chair to make him watch it. But, it's part of the wrestling business. I mean, no matter how much we like it or don't like it, we're pro wrestling inside and out. And because of that, we have to talk about them. And eventually we'll talk about other wrestling organizations. But right now, just WWE Raw and SmackDown.
I will say here's my key. Here's my key to enjoying it, or at least getting by with it. Is you got to separate the two. It is not our wrestling; it's sports entertainment. It's two separate products, and if you can separate that in your mind, you can kind of enjoy some of the newer stuff. I do. Say this time and time again. I'm a huge NXT star. A huge NXT guy because of the storylines that they do. I love that. I think they develop characters better there. But, you can't apply our rules to today's product because it's two separate things.
It's just the only thing that we're applying when we're looking at is the storylines and the way it's written. It can make more sense. It doesn't even have to have old school rules to it. It just has to make more sense.
Well,
the
one thing that should be consistent between the old school and the new stuff is they should make you want to believe.
Yeah.
And the new stuff you struggle to want to believe any of that.
Yes, you do. Kevin said, Rodney, all the writing is comedy. There's no sport in it. Larry Brock said, Rodney, you are on it tonight, but the truth will set you free. Richard Hood said, Rodney, I agree. Back in the day when the houses were down, they would bring in Thunderbolt Patterson, Dusty Rhodes, Andre Giant to bring it up. True. They don't have any of those places. No. Kevin said, I'm glad Kevin Sullivan was on these shows.
Just about. Though the behind the scenes stuff is just for me unwatchable in some cases. I mean, just unwatchable. It is so campy. It's kind of like watching the Muppet Show. It's just awful.
Michelle says, good evening. Dr. Phil Bogrice is on the evening. How you doing? Richard Wood said, Brent, the WWE writers don't know anything about pro wrestling.
It's apparent. It is apparent.
Anything better. Lashley is very underused. He has great potential.
I was waiting on this, and he is exactly right. Now, what use is he being the United States heavyweight champion and not included in this 3-match thing. What use is it to be the United States champion if you're not the number one contender automatically? You would think that he would have been included in that, but they excluded him. To think about it, I would have if I was legitimately, if you're the United States champion, wouldn't you have a problem with Dominic, who's just showed up on the be included in an important thing like this? Wouldn't you have a problem with that? Even Owens, wouldn't you have a problem with him too? I'm the U.S. champion, and I'm excluded from one of the big matches, the biggest match to have a WWE championship opportunity. I'm the United States champion. Why I'm not included? Makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense.
Kevin Penley said, I saw AJ Styles at an indie show and was surprised how small he was. And you know what? Up against Jeff Hardy, he looked pretty short. I think short would be more like it. I mean, he's a pretty big guy, but he is pretty short, isn't he?
Yeah.
That might explain why he had to screech like he did.
Charles Alford, he's going to be watching this later on. Charles, thank you so much. You are one of our top fans, and we truly, truly, truly appreciate it. You and Richard Hood, Dr. Phil McGrath, all of you, thank you so much for. We're almost at 10,000 followers, and it's because of you sharing it, liking our page. We're getting almost to 10,000. Stuart Kemp said, can't remember having to watch Raw or SmackDown in the entire 2020 year, and based on your comments, I have missed nothing. There's something.
Well, I can tell you right now, the opening of the show, where they go through the different years of later and now, that's about the best thing of it. And then I thought it was classy of having Bob Armstrong at the front of the show, both shows. I thought it was
not only at the front of the show, but at the front of every show since he had passed away.
Yeah, it was very classy.
All right, one more from our insiders, and then we got to get off of here. Good evening, gentlemen. While traveling this week, nothing on TV, so I let Raw play. Just can't get into it now if y'all book it. We are going to do this. We're going to let it go for 6 weeks, and then we're going to go back. We're going to go back for the 6 weeks and see if we can tweak it a little bit, play a little booker. And all our insiders can help us book
Certainly.
it. See if we can book it better than and these days, write it better than what they said. I think it'll be a fun thing for us to do. It'll have to be a special night or something because
mine's going to be like a silent movie. You can see their mouth moving, but you can't hear what they're saying. Especially with AJ. We're going to start. I would do a voice dub of AJ Styles. Have somebody talk, have him talk, his mouth moving, and somebody.
Right there, Rodney's the reason WWE is a joke because people like you think it's funny and they write it and put it on television. All right, Jack, any closing comments before we leave the program?
No, I would just I would love if we could be actually part of the WWE universe on one of those screens up there. All three of us side by side, or that we could just keep going. Not with everything, but I'm kidding.
There is stuff I do like. As an old school person that grew up watching old school wrestling, working in old school wrestling, there are some stuff that I do like. And they do have some wrestling matches. And maybe Shane McMahon take over. Maybe he'll take over Raw soon, and maybe we'll see more of that.
I hope so.
Rodney, closing comments?
Actually, these shows were better than the ones from last week. I have to give them that. At least they did do a few things. They did save Ramon Reigns to the end and not overexpose him. They last week just killed the WWE champion. I don't care how you put it. They killed him off better than a doornail.
Yeah.
Randy, like this week should have been what they did last week with Randy Orton Jr. And for whatever reason, they didn't follow up with the kick. I think they should have followed up the kick, being that was their main thing from the prior week. But
right.
All in all, I thought they have improved for themselves. But of course, bar was low in the first place.
All right, folks, if you have not went to our T-shirt store, we'd like to send you over to facebook.com/Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. If you're watching right here on Facebook, all you have to do is go up to that shop now, and you can go over there and get you a T-shirt, cell phone cover. And me and Jack, we have them. We have Pro Wrestling Inside Out T-shirt on. He's got the Bomber cup, and he's got his T-shirt on. So get over there to the store, support the channel, and we would appreciate it. Get you a T-shirt, and like I said, new T-shirt is on its way. Rodney, Jack, until we meet again, and we discuss Raw and SmackDown one more time.
You mean we're gonna do this again?
Do it again.
Yeah, we're gonna do it again.
Okay.
Again and again.
I'm gonna have to buy a whole new pack of toilet paper. There's only so much cleaning my screen can get. I can tell you that much right now.
You mean here's the secret: smoke a big enough cigar, you can get through anything.
Okay, folks, thank you so much for being a part of our show. If you're watching on YouTube, give us that big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And if you're watching on Facebook, like and share the page. Thank you so much, everyone, and we'll see you on the next review of Raw and SmackDown.